DPS, Rents, Laird, Petty, Internal Affairs.
Okay, Mr. Clark, Major Clark, wrote this on a piece of paper when he threatened to have Washington kill me. He wrote this and said, write this to Uten about the boys. This is the actual original. This is the copy.
So someone at DPS.
No, the major of traffic. His name is Stanley Clark.
Told you
Told
that he
me
was going to have.
when he refused to take my written request to the major and to Mr. Smiley to issue subpoenas. He wrote this down in his own piece of paper, and this is what I do best. This is the copy. This is the original. The major wrote it himself.
Okay.
To Internal Affairs.
And what was the part about having Washington kill you?
Oh, it's on the record. You got the Rule 26. He said, aren't you afraid Washington's going to have you killed? I said, why is he going to have me killed? Why is he always going to have me killed?
Washington is a person or the city?
Barry Washington is a gentleman who on this tape, now that you've brought it up and made it relevant, threatened Carol. And I have the tape, which no one's ever heard.
Right,
so
well,
here it is.
Oh, at this point...
Lonnie's heard it.
At this point,
No,
we're not going to hear it.
Mr. No, this is the gentleman that's going to have me killed. You ask. It's relevant.
No, this is non-responsive. I asked what your beef was, and you told me.
The beef is Mr. Washington threatened to kill Carol Davis.
I understand. It's now been answered.
Now he's threatened to kill me twice.
Okay.
Through other people at DPS.
You have answered the question.
But I have the tape that explains exactly why he's not going to have me killed.
That's fine, but we're not going to listen to it now. The next question is, in April of 1998,
well, we're going to enter into that.
Carol filed a complaint against the city of Jersey Village regarding Mike Connors and Janie Brawny. And I believe either you were referenced in it or your signature was on it. Do you remember that?
No, my signature's not on it. I put it in a sworn statement into, I think, October federal exhibit. She wrote a letter.
That's right. It's Carol that was Carol's letter.
Carol wrote a letter. I found it in her stuff. I entered it into the...
So you were not involved in the April 1998 complaint against the city of Jersey Village?
No, sir.
Okay.
But I did have the document, so...
And again, I'm just trying to go through any sort of civil litigation, just like we went through the criminal history. I'm just trying to go through the civil history that I know of, and then I'll ask you if there's any other ones. The last one I have is, at some point, did you go to the state bar in December of 1996?
I went to the state bar, yes. I think I did. Once.
What was that about?
I went in there to Betty Aminga and presented some kind of evidence.
Do you remember what it was about?
It was real dynamic.
I know Carol remembers what it's about, but Lindy, do you remember what it was about?
Well, I think I was on video and said that Carla had killed her son, and I think that Betty had helped her kill the son, and Barry Washington threatened to kill us. Other than that...
Did you say Carl or Carla?
Carla Roberson, the witness in Carol's trial, had killed her son.
Which trial?
The trial in Travis County.
This is what year?
99, when Carol was convicted by PI board through DPS.
Okay, that was a private investigator.
The main witness was Carla Roberson, who I claimed murdered her son in the state bar with Betty Aminga, their other main witness.
Okay.
I think that they had threatened to set me up, and I think I'd stung them back and said I didn't appreciate them trying to set me up.
And I am not, and when I ask you this question, I absolutely am not talking about your son's accident. Outside of that, how many times have you gone to authorities and told them that either someone has threatened to kill you, or someone has threatened to kill someone else, or someone has killed someone else?
I don't know. I don't think very many times. I think the time that you're talking about with Carla Roberson, I've made it clear to several people in DPS. They've made it clear to me. Mr. Washington's deeply involved. I did not know Mr. Washington. I did not have anything to do with Mr. Washington, but I do believe I have the evidence to prove that, you know, something went awry there. It interests me because the baby's dead.
The reason I ask this is,
but
hold on. So in December of 1996, you told someone in a position of authority that someone had killed someone else.
I walked into the state bar. They had a video. They had a grievance.
It's just yes or no. Did you tell them that someone had killed someone else?
I walked in with evidence, handed them on video the evidence, and walked out.
Did you tell anybody while you were there that someone had killed someone?
I told them. The woman sitting there. I said, you killed your son.
Okay. Now,
and I want to exhume his body.
And then in 19, and when was it that someone said that Washington was going to kill you?
The major on December 27th of 2000, when I went to DPS to serve a written request to Mr. Smiley, a subpoena to find a Stanley Clark in Nacogdoches, a Lieutenant Clark. I had it in my hand, and
So
then I had
2000.
Yes, the 27th of December 2000.
So in 1996, we've got this woman. You allege this woman killed her son. In 2000, this person threatens to kill you.
No.
Or threatens to have someone else kill you.
No, the major. I didn't know who he was.
Okay, the major
has my documents. I have something for the director of DPS, which I was told to write. And then I had this issue a subpoena thing.
Did the major tell you someone was going to kill you?
He told me, aren't you afraid Barry Washington's going to have you killed?
And he was not joking?
No.
Okay. You also said in 2001 at some point, someone at the Jersey Village Police Department said that they were going to assassinate Carol. Is that correct?
No, they said it twice.
Okay, who was it and what did they say?
Gregory Beeves said it. And Joe Stell, the gentleman sitting out there, was with me.
What did Mr. Beeves say?
I have it written down.
I'm just asking, what did he say?
I was invited into the Jersey Village Police Department, supposedly to get the keys to go to Carol's house. And I say supposedly because it wasn't something I was clear about, because Lonnie was there. Lonnie was. So I went in the police department, and I said hello, and I said, my name is Melinda Honerkamp, and I said, I need to know, who jumped to the DA. And this gentleman, real tall gentleman, was sitting a little bit, I'm behind the bulletproof glass, and this little woman's sitting there. And I said, I need to know. I said, I hate to ask this, but I've been in here. I think I've been in there a couple of times, and that's one of the issues I'm not clear about, because I was in there a couple of times. And I said, I hate to ask this again, but I need to ask who jumped to the DA. And this guy turned around and came into the window, and I'm very short, and he's very tall. And he said, let me tell you how pretrial is going to go. And I looked up at the camera and praised God, and I looked at her, and I said, okay. And he said, and I do have a big sense of humor. I do, thank God. And I didn't expect what he was going to say. And so he said, well, let me tell you how pretrial is going to go. And I said, well, okay, please. And he said, well, it's 2 counts of assault, deadly weapon, mace against a police officer. And I just, it was probably the worst thing. I mean, it was one of the worst things I'd ever heard, because it wasn't what I was expecting. And so I said, okay. And I looked at JoJo and I said, pay attention, because he always sits. And he said, I'm an expert. And I said, I said, okay. And he said, I'm an attorney. I said, no, sir, you're a cop behind a bulletproof glass, I hope. And he said, well, let me explain to you. I said, go ahead. So he turned around and used Janie's head, Janie Brawny, who I think is Janie Brawny, head, and said if I'd gone in there and she'd waved the waist at me. And I said, wait a minute. And he said, I said, what do you mean, aim the mace? And I said, did he have glasses on? And he said, what do you mean? I said, did he have glasses on? And she said, is he in the Ruiz Eye Clinic? And he said, what do you mean? I said, because if she had the mace and he had glasses on, he's blind in some hospital. I said, what do you mean she aimed the mace? I was completely upset. He said, she aimed the mace. I said, you mean she aimed the mace at someone? What do you mean she aimed? Did she fire it? And he didn't say. He said, I would have assassinated her. And he turned her around and used her head like that.
Okay.
And then he said, but I would have assassinated her again. And I went, because there were 2 counts. And I backed off, and I looked around and I said, you're going to have to explain this again, because all I could think of was assassination. Then I wanted to stop him because I didn't know what to do. And he said it again. He said, I would have, if I'd made that call, taken my, his finger on Janie's head, and he had her turn, and she kept turning. I think she kept turning this way, but I could see other people. I couldn't see anybody. I was just looking straight at him because I really was not sure what he was saying or why. He said, I'm an attorney, and this is how it's going to go. And I went, and I think I just basically just kept staring at her, and she just kept staring at me, and she just kept turning, and he kept turning around, and he was very angry, and I just said, thanks a lot, and left.
Did you see that as a threat against Carol?
I saw it a threat against Janie. I thought a